Apologies for that. Gareth Hewer doesn't look a bit like Ben Thaler, to be fair. So here we go, and Castleford kick off. They're attacking from left to right in this first half, and the ball bouncing a little unkindly in front of Tyrone Roberts. The chase led by Michael Shenton and Liam Watts. And that's the first tackle of the game, and inside the Warrington quarter of the field. This now is Mike Cooper. He had a 6-game loan spell at Castleford way back in 2010, did Mike Cooper. Chris Hill, his top forward colleague, trying to battle his way to the 20-metre line. And that's a solid run from George King. 2 Kings on the field today. George King with 19 on his back, and Toby King one less with 18. Toby in the centres, George King at loose forward. This meanwhile is Jack Hughes. And Darrell Clark, once the darling of Weldon Road, now very much the villain, I suppose, the fact that he's playing for Warrington tonight. And well played by Peter Matautia, the Samoan, who joined from Lee during the fire sale at the Centurions. Castleford snapped him up. He missed last week at Wigan, but he's here again tonight, and his presence allows this man, Greg Eden, to appear on the wing. He needs 2 tries for 50 for Castleford. Does Greg Eden. 48 he has crossed for in 43 appearances so far.
Got some speed at the back, haven't they? Castleford, this man as well, who's just passed the ball, Grant Millington. Good to have him back in the side. A player that not only can play prop forward, he's played in the halves as well, so he's got some skill.
Ellis gets the ball away from dummy half, and he finds Mike McMeekan. McMeekan plays the ball to McShane, and Jamie Ellis hoists the first high kick that Stephen Ratchford deals with competently enough. Stephen Ratchford, fullback in all but 2 this year, and he missed the Catalan game last week. He got 5 goals in the Easter Monday mudfest here when Warrington won by 18 points to 6. The ground was totally waterlogged on that occasion.
Well, we've seen a different Castleford side to start this game. Look at the contact in the tackle and the control around the ruck. Dramatically different to what we saw in the opening minutes of the match last week at Wigan, when they couldn't cope with the Wigan side and the forwards. So be a far more pleasing start for the coaching staff.
2.5 minutes gone, and Chris Hill plays the ball to Darrell Clark. He finds Kevin Brown inside the 40-metre mark, but doesn't quite get the angle right. It bounces harmlessly in the end into Matautia's grasp once again.
An early kick that time from Warrington. On 4th tackle, Kevin Brown decides to put the ball near the opposition's line, and Peter Matautia, a very exciting player. Not Castleford Tigers and the fans excited to have him on board and see what he's worth. They look like they're going to benefit from 20 cheap metres.
Yeah, first penalty of the game. It was a Doc's hind leg of a defensive line.
Well, there are little disciplines in the game that you've got to make sure that you work with the referee, set the line. You can't stand in front of him, you've got to give the opposition 10 metres.
And so Castleford start from a very advantageous position deep inside Warrington territory. That's Joe Wardle taking the first tackle, and it's McShane at dummy half will come into centre field and find Millington. Here is Nathan Massey. Massey gets to the 10-metre line. Only 2 tackles gone, so plenty in the bank here for the Castleford Tigers as Liam Watts tries to step inside George King. A good job that Mike Cooper and Ratchford were there, but the very close ones now to the Wolves line. Here is Millington. That's good defence from Hughes, and there are 4 blue jerseys there to keep him out. Millington will play the ball to McShane. He goes to the left-hand side. There's Truman. And Earl Shenton, he received the ball. He also received a ferocious challenge from Mitch Brown.
Well, they're good attacking shape. Then Castleford both on the right-hand side, on the left. Chose to give the ball to Jake Truman, and Shenton just can't keep hold of this. There's pressure from Mitch Brown, who wedges in and just hits him with absolutely everything he's got and forces that error.
It's a bad pass though, really, isn't it? In that position, it needs to be exactly where the centre needs it to give him any chance. He's going to be closed down in time. The ball over his right shoulder behind him. It's the detail that Truman has to improve on.
Michael Shenton on the verge of a personal milestone as well. He needs a couple of tries to become the first Castleford player to notch 100 in the Super League competition. Michael Shenton had a wonderful season last year, as indeed did all the Castleford Tigers players, to be fair. Ran away with the League Leaders' Shield, just as St Helens have done so far this year. And here they are now battling to get a home semi-final in the playoffs and get back to Old Trafford, where I honestly believe they think they let themselves down 12 months ago.
That was probably the worst game of the year, that wasn't it? They excited everyone, all the neutrals loved tuning in and watching Cass entertain the fans, but last year at the grand final wasn't good enough.
There were a number of extraneous circumstances, of course, that led to that performance, but here they're very quick on the ground to seize on a Warrington mistake.
And
here is Massey.
It was defensive pressure that forced that mistake, forced that error. It went across the face of one player into the path of Chris Hill, who just had no chance under the pressure of the defence and the intensity of line speed.
Hill gets to Millington, makes the tackle. He gets the ball away, and that's Ellis. Ellis to Webster. Castleford exerting pressure early on in this match with Millington now, and here is Watts, and back it comes to Jake Truman. Truman then finds Matauti. Matauti gets it to Shenton. Shenton is halted, as is Matauti, this time by Darryl Clark. Matauti plays the ball. It's the last one coming up this, and McShane tips the ball back inside, and that was touched by Roberts, but I think it's been deemed to be a knock-on by Tyrone Roberts. So more pressure coming in here on the Warrington line.
Well, that's how clever Paul McShane is. He sees that his opposite, Darryl Clark, can't just quite get set at marker, so he goes down that short side, thinking that there's going to be some space, kicks the ball, and then you can see there's a little ricochet, comes off Tyrone Roberts' left hand, and more pressure here now for Warrington.
Off the knee first, I think, or just below the knee, and then he did get a little fingertip to it, Tyrone Roberts. On his way at the end of the season, of course. Will he go home with the League and Cup double?
Certainly in the hands of Warrington at the minute. It was a big risk for Paul McShane to go down such a skinny short side, but he gets the reward.
And there's Shenton, and he finds Matautia, who loves to chime into the line. 9 tries in 20 appearances for Lee this season before he made the move, when it was obvious that Lee Centurions weren't going to make the top 4 of the championship. And Derek Beaumont asked the players if they wanted to leave, they could. Virtually tore the contracts up, and Matautia, one of those who benefited with this move to Castleford. Ellis now gets it away to Webster.
Looking for Matauti, but Matauti had just switched off then. He thought that pass was going to hit the lead runner through the line.
Good defence though here from Warrington, but too much attention paid to Webster by Tom Lynham. And Lynham said, well, I didn't hear the call to let him go.
Well, very physical when carrying the ball, James Webster. And you can see that Tom Lynham just holding on too long for the referee.
So more pressure on this Warrington line. It's been incessant for the first 6.5 minutes here. And Castleford 9 metres away with McShane, and he finds Ellis. Good defence again. This time from the number 13, Bodine Thompson. Millington. Millington gets the ball away to Truman. Short pass then. Wardle. The test of this Warrington defence. So far they're standing up to it. 3 tackles gone this set. Here is McShane to Watts on the angled run. And again, Warrington stand firm. McShane once more will find Truman. Here is Millington. Millington then gets it away to Ellis. The runner is Matautia. They come wide to James Clare. James Clare comes up with a try after all that pressure. 7 minutes and 23 seconds of non-stop Castleford pressure on that Warrington line. And James Clare, he scored last week, and that's his 6th try of the season.
Well, a poor start last week, a good start this week for the coach, Darryl Powell. Jake Webster earns his side a penalty. Wouldn't let Tom Lynham dominate him. The ball goes from one side of the pitch to the other. Grant Millington seems to be involved in an awful lot of plays at the minute, and that's a beautiful pass from Matautia. Goes out wide, and you just look at the amount of players pushing up in support, supporting the ball carrier, the man out the back. Matautia throws that ball when he sees that Tom Lynham's left some space outside for James Clare.
Important contribution from Matautia, not just in the context of that try, but in the context of this game. Over the opening 8 or so minutes when they've been in good ball, he's looked, not lost is too harsh, but unsure and unclear of his lines and his position and role within this side. You can see he's breathing deeply, a lot of running at fullback, a lot of metres to be covered, and you have to, as we said last night, you have to have the skill of arriving at the right time. There's a beautiful pass to the winger in space though.
Difficult conversion attempt coming up from Jamie Ellis. to try and add the extras to James Clare's opening try. A nice moment for James Clare. This is his 100th career appearance, his 51st for Castleford. Been at Doncaster, York, Bradford, Lee and Halifax before he came here. And Ellis just pushes the ball wide of the posts on the far side. But they lead by 4 points to 0 to Castleford.
Well, a lot of the credit's got to go to the fullback. Luke Gale sat in the stand. He set up many of the tries last season, but it's the guys on the field tonight who are the important ones. Peter Matauti, the fullback, he's the 7th player they've picked to play in that all-important fullback position this season. That's the 7th different player in 25 games we've had now in Super League. They've had to shuffle it around. Obviously, they lost Zach Ardiker last season, and they've tried several different options. They've been remarkably successful to get to where they are with the number of players they've changed. It's remarkable. Without Luke Gale and Zach Ardiker, how they're in the top 4, for me, the team of year are getting.
Yes, the ramifications of Zach Hardaker's departure still being felt. Ben Roberts, of course, was another of the
Well, they started
fullbacks.
the season.
They started with him.
First 5 games of the season, he was fullback. They've tried several other options since, and it's amazing to think they'll still probably make the playoffs.
Yes, they probably will, and they might just be making up a bit of ground on Wigan if it stays like this. But Warrington, as I say, they brought a team here determined to win. That was a loose pass, but Wardle did well to get down to it before the Warrington players closed in. But there's a chance here now for Warrington to turn the screw a bit, because they're deep inside their own half here, Castleford, and this is the last tackle. So the kick goes right down the centre of the field and harmlessly bounces into Ratchford's hands, and here comes Lynham now. But it's a good defensive line that Castleford have set to greet him.
I'm sure that Warrington would have expected Cass to try and ambush him early on and really make them focus on next week and not feel sorry for themselves. But yeah, we've got a cup final, lads, and like I said before, I think it's human nature that you look forward to next week. You've got a big game to deal with now, but you don't want to pick up any injuries. You won't pick up injuries if you play like you play for the full 80 minutes and what's got you to this point in the season.
Chris Hill gets it to Kevin Brown. Here is Bodine Thompson again. Is that an obstruction? The crowd thought so, the Castleford players thought so, but the referee thought otherwise. Bodine Thompson, by the way, is a man who's not playing for a place at Wembley. He is cup-tied, having played for Lee in the competition in earlier rounds. So he's only got one thing in mind tonight, Bodine Thompson. That's this game here at the Menderhose Jungle, as Kevin Brown finds Ratchford. From the start of the show for Warrington this year was Stephen Ratchford.
That pass should have gone though, Eddie.
It's a turnover. He got trapped on the last tackle.
Bryson Goodwin was in space. All Stephen Ratchford had to do was just lay that ball on. Sometimes the simple option seems difficult in those pressure situations.
Liam Watts. Clark down. Hughes upstairs, and then George King coming in for good measure. This is Millington. Goal. Nice tip on by Truman. A lovely ball out wide to Greg Eden. Here he goes. Eden flings the ball back inside. It came off a Warrington player, but surely that played the man, not the other way round, and it is head and feet to Warrington.
Well, Greg Eden, he's got some speed, and every time they shift the ball out wide to him, tries to get the ball inside, comes off Mitch Brown's head. And Greg Eden is certainly one of those players in Super League that if he has a metre to go at, he'll certainly back his chances.
Well, that won't be a surprise for anybody in the Warrington camp. The Tigers have scored 3 times as many tries down their left than they have over the right. And it's not a surprise when you've got people like Greg Eden. And also, I think, targeting Tyrone Roberts, a lot of teams have run at him, the Warrington side. The Wolves only missed 20 tackles last week, and Tyrone Roberts missed 5 of those, so he is targeted heavily in these defensive efforts.
Bryson Goodwin was on the end of Bodine Thompson's pass, but it was forward. The crowd helping out the touch judge on this near side.
He was trying to do a no-look pass, Bodine Thompson. They really have signed an excellent player. The back rower, very rugged, robust runner of the ball. Tough in defence, but unfortunately his skill let him down on that occasion.
And the angle of our camera up here on the gantry made that look a little bit harsh, the call, but as I say, a few thousand words and voices behind the touch judge on this near. I'm not saying, Stuart, for 1 minute that they are influenced by the crowds.
No, he'll have been looking at the hands and the way the ball came out of the hands. I think it does drift forward, and the body runs forward with it.
So just time for running repairs on Mike McMeekan.
It was interesting last time there was a break in play. Danny Hall was on to Matautia, James Clerk, Jake Webster, and that man Mike McMeekan, who's just backing down. Or the players on the right-hand side talking about the timing, talking about the lines of running. Imagine they've done a bit of homework, and that's the side that they want to play at.
Here goes Millington now. Halted 40 metres out. Paul McShane. And Massey will take it forward into the chest of Darrell Clark. McShane again. And Ellis is on his right-hand side. It then goes back infield to Liam Watts. Liam Watts pirouettes. And then goes down. 21 metres out. McShane to Massey. Mike Cooper's hand and arm was a little high, made contact with the head, and they're looking up here to see what Darrell Powell rather wants to do. They're asking whether they should go for two. The penalty's bang in front of the post.
Well, you talked about when they met in June, Eddie. It was a 11-try thriller, but interestingly, the Castleford Tigers on that night, you don't forget, 34 points to 30, Castleford won. 2 penalty goals kicked amongst all of the points, and perhaps the difference at the end of it. Even in a game with as many tries, maybe he's a little unlucky here, Mike Cooper, but the referee sees it as a high tackle and he's blown for that.
Paul McShane jumps out left and passes the ball back behind or in front of the player, around the player, the ball. Smart operator, Paul McShane. Doesn't matter how small, how slim the percentage of success, he will try it, he will commit to it, and more often than not it comes off for him.
Well, Jamie Ellis is bang in front. 3 out of 4 goals against Wigan last week. Over 1,000 career points now for Jamie Ellis. 50 goals this season. A couple of drop goals, or rather 1 drop goal thrown in as well, and a couple of tries. But this is relatively simple for a kicker of Ellis's quality. This should be 6-0 to Castleford in a moment. The aim, of course, for Castleford and Warrington is to put pressure on the Wigan side, sitting in second spot. They visit St Helens the week after Wembley. And Jamie Ellis knocks the penalty over, no problem. Castleford lead by 6 points to 0. The week after Wembley, by the way, Castleford, well, they have got a fairly hefty programme as well. They all have, of course. They've got Warrington here tonight, the cup finalists. They host the other cup finalists, the Catalan Dragons, the week after the final. Some people say it's a good time to play the Wembley finalists either side of the big event.
I think it's the one after the Challenge Cup that always gets the team that's been in the final. If you've lost the final, you want to play straight away, but if you've won the final, well, maybe you've celebrated a bit too hard, Eddie.
Well, they might have done in your day, Terry. 0-0 at Huddersfield. Huddersfield, of course, breathing down the necks after a dreadful start to the season for Huddersfield. But Simon Wolford has waved the magic wand, and if they beat Hull tonight, whoever loses this, Huddersfield will be just 3 points adrift with 5 games to go. It's not beyond them to get into the top 4. Incredible turnaround in Huddersfield Giants season. There's Jake Truman at dummy half. It's Liam Watts and now Nathan Massey.
Moving the ball well, Cass. They're still making the metres. As you see, 50 metres. A good kick will come in, but they're still testing and putting questions in the mind of the defenders from Warrington.
Bradford does well. He knew that Shenton was closing in to make the tackle, and that's exactly what he did. Knees and legs up to protect himself.
Well, that's it, knowing that there's going to be a decent chase from Castleford. The opening 16 minutes, look at the line speed. Just too much, though, for the referee. Got a few. Got to hold the line. You've got to make sure that you stay on side with the referee. The line, look at it working as one. Nobody's jumping. Everyone's keeping it nice and tight, but you've got to make sure that you can only go once the ball is played.
Well, it took St Helens about 20 minutes to get into the game last night. Wakefield dominated the opening quarter. Warrington haven't really come to life yet, but this is a set here. About 16, 17 minutes into the game here now, where perhaps they can show us whether they really mean it here tonight.
Darrell Clark's at dummy half, and he finds Kevin Brown. Brown then gets it away to Bryson Goodwin, he evades Webster, he evades McShane, but he can't get past Liam Watts or McShane for a second time. They're 12 metres away, Warrington. Darrell Clark to Cooper. Cooper to Roberts. Roberts spins it wide. Here's Toby King. Good defence. Really good defence from Shenton. Here goes Mitch Brown now. Having a little dash at the line. Just held up short. 2 tackles remaining. Clark finds Roberts. Here's Cooper. Mike Cooper trying to get the arms free, does so. Darrell Clark booms the pass into centre field and finds Kevin Brown. He'll dab it to the in-goal area looking for the runners. Bryson Goodwin was just too late.
Well, just too much on this kick from Kevin Brown, but a good offload, wasn't it, from Mike Cooper. Leads the way in his team 43 this year. That was another one of those offloads that catches the team unaware, and he goes into contact, pulls in a couple of defenders and manages to get the ball away.
So Castleford will come again. Matauti, held by George King, plays the ball to McShane. McMeekan. 3 Warrington players hunting him down. Bodine Thompson making sure he goes on the back, but illegally the ball comes out of McMeekan's grasp and it's a penalty to Castleford.
Well, they started that defensive set negatively, Castleford Tigers. They didn't get the Matautia fullback down to the ground. There was an arm in Bodine Thompson. Whenever you see the ball pop out, you leave it in the hands of the referee. It can go with you, it can go against you. And Warrington now defending their own line.
Yet again, as Webster restarts, and here's Ellis who gives it to McMeekan. That's a knock on. It's not, it's a penalty. McMeekan again.
Well, doubling up their errors. Will they go for 2 points here? The referee got a few up. Wants to talk to Chris Hill.
JT wants to.
We're around the team. You know what the response will be. I'm looking for a response from you. The ball's in your court.
And referee having a little word of admonishment with Chris Hill. 2 penalties in quick succession for exactly the same offence. Well, they're 6-0 up. I think they're going to run this. There's no need really to go for 2 points just yet. Although, as Phil said, the games this year have been fairly close between these two.
Well, don't forget, Warrington outscored them 6 tries to 5. It was goal kicking, and the 2 extra penalties that got them with a win at Warrington just a couple of months ago. They're backing themselves here for another try.
And it's McMeekan again. McShane, 5 metres out. Fires the pass to Liam Watts. What about taking on Cooper? Just halted for a second. George King is brought down. Good movement. Matautia, it's touched that by Brown. The referee will say play on. No, he won't. He'll bring them back for the knock-on.
A late call there, wasn't it? He went play on for a while.
Oh, and it's head and feet to Warrington. Well, what's he seen here, Gareth Ewer? And if he's seen something against Castleford, why on earth didn't he let them play on? Isn't that a knock-on by Brown? And there's no knock-on there by Eden. I'm confused, Stuart.
Well, he's got the call from the touch judge. I thought it was a knock-on by Brown at that point.
I think Matauti, as he's catching that ball, he loses it into Brown. Then that's what the referee spotted. Gareth Ewer.
Yeah, well, he did have the opportunity to play on, but he was getting quite a strong call from the touch judge for it to be a scrum from
good spot, Tez.
Get the scrum together.
Well done.
Head in, Darrell.
Good spot.
Well, he certainly had the ball from his hand into the Warrington player, but I think he was trying to get the ball out wide. But anyway, it's all about how the referee views it, and that's the important thing, and Gareth Ewer saw it that way.
And another let-off.
A problem.
Another let-off. Castleford with good field position, had possession, failed to do anything with it. I'm not sure what's happened here, but the player is staying down.
Is it knee or ankle? See, his right knee's heavily strapped.
Did he catch a high one, or is it the ankle?
I don't think there's any foul play in that at all. I think it's obviously something to do with the knee.
Well, Mitch Brown, he's obviously had his opportunities limited by the form of Josh Charnley. This is only the 12th appearance of his debut season with the Warrington Wolves. Second on the wing.
Was he catch the knee of Webster and there's a collision rather than a tweak or a twist, which sometimes is the better of two evils. Contact, collision, a crack. Having a look at the kneecap, patella.
Well, he's having a long, hard look at it, and it looks like the brains trust, doesn't it, there with the Warrington players, Livett and Westwood and Charnley in your foreground, Luke Gale, Ben Roberts, all the other Castleford players around them as well, and well, all enjoying the thing.
It's very friendly, isn't it?
Good to see, isn't it?
Yeah,
Good to see.
good to see.
Very friendly.
Wouldn't be that friendly if they were all out in the middle of the park.
Absolutely.
Jai Hitchcock just sat behind Luke Gale. He's the Castleford top try scorer this season. 10 tries in 8 games and still not out there tonight. I suppose if you play on the wing for the Tigers, you generally get some good service, which is what this man Mitch Brown thought he was going to get tonight, some good service, but looks as though his night might be over.
You know, hindsight.
Well, the sad side here is they're bringing a stretcher on.
Yeah, it's never good to see, is it?
Got Ben Pomeroy on the bench. He could slip into the centres, maybe put one of the centres on the wing.
Say hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? When Cass had an opportunity to go for 2 points, we see Ben Pomeroy getting ready to come onto the field. They took the goal when they were 4-0 up. Then they had another chance to go for it. Would have took them 8 points up. And I think they look back on that and think we really should have took those 2 points.
I bet Mitch Brown thinks they should have done as well now.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be some time before Mitch Brown is taken from the field. He's got that knee heavily bandaged as well, so there's obviously been a previous problem.
Yeah, and that'll be, I reckon, his biggest worry as he lies there now wondering just how much damage has been done. Because until they assess that tomorrow and maybe get some scans to consider it, he'll be worried, thinking it's a recurrence of an old injury or maybe even a worsening of it.
Well, he's very unlikely to play at Wembley, Mitch Brown, you would say, because he's filling in for Josh Charnley tonight. But this is the danger of playing a near full-strength side. There's an injured player on the field. The other Warrington players are looking at him. I wonder what thoughts are now going through their mind about next week.
And for Mitch Brown, whether he's replacing the best player or the worst player, it's his opportunity, it's his window, and a good performance in the game before Wembley can often see you get yourself into that 17. Josh Charnley, 20 consecutive games for Warrington so far, and looks to be the buy of the season for me, Josh Charnley.
You see the players in the stand next to him, but again it was a nice little touch from James Clerk, who goes over to Mitch Brown in centre field and just pats him on the shoulder, saying hard luck, lad. But they'll hit each other with absolutely everything. They'll stand over each other, but when it comes down to it, no one wants to see an opponent lying on the floor and what could be a serious injury.
Mitch Brown is carried from the field on a stretcher, always the saddest sight on a sports field. And I think we're right. I think this is the end of Mitch Brown for tonight. It's obviously a serious injury. Right, so Ben Pomeroy has come on for him, and once he clears the field across that whitewash, Gareth Hewer will restart the match. Here we go, with Warrington in possession, with Chris Hill. And a long stoppage that. Let's see which of these two sides has maintained its concentration. Well, Liam Watts just raised the knee a little bit there to Chris Hill.
Well, they've been having a little look at each other since the very beginning of this match. Liam Watts, he likes this element of the game. He wants to make it mano a mano. He wants me against you, but he has to get that right. Just that little nudge, just that little knee doesn't do anybody, not going to damage anybody.
They're old-fashioned prop forwards, aren't they? They run hard, they tackle hard, they can play at the line, through the line. But Liam Watts on that occasion just got to keep his marbles in check.
So penalty to Warrington, here they come with George King. Been a substitute in the last couple. And there's a second football on the pitch, so referee Hewer wants it cleared. Now they can play the ball, and this is Clark, and now Brown. And Brown gets it away to Mike Cooper once again. He actually scored a try in his Castleford debut during that 6-game loan spell in 2010 in Perpignan against the Catalan Dragons, Mike Cooper. Clark at dummy half. Into centre field it goes to Brown. Brown lays it off to George King again. King is halted by Massey and Millington. Clark waits once more. Hill takes it forward, finds Cooper. Cooper loses the ball, and Millington then loses the ball. Knock on both ways. Castleford 6-0, 22 minutes gone. Scrappy.
We're just waiting for the game to open up, really. Cass started strong. They were putting an awful lot of pressure on Warrington close to their own line, and then they just seem to have switched off and not really executed the correct plays that they want. Realistically, you've got to give some credit as well to Warrington, the way that they have defended, the way that they've forced Cass into making a couple of mistakes, and that man Mike Cooper, whilst he's on the field, he's always going to trouble, and the forwards are always going to trouble their opponents, the likes of him and Chris Hill.
So Castleford's head and feed, 10 metres away from their own line. Webster will take it forward. Tomorrow, we're in the thick of the qualifiers. Salford against Widnes tomorrow at 3 on Sky Sports Arena. Then we'll see the other Challenge Cup finalists, Catalan against the Wigan Warriors from the Super 8s at 5:15, same channel. And we wrap the night up across the Atlantic. Toronto against Hull Kingston Rovers. Vital match for Hull KR. They lost their first qualifying match last week against Salford, and tomorrow at 7:30 they aim to put that right. But Toronto, with a win under their belt, could take a giant stride towards Super League next year with a victory there. All those 3 matches live, a triple header live on Sky Sports tomorrow, Sky Sports Arena.
Junior Moore's on for Castleford. He might help this game open up a little bit. We saw a couple of times, 23 minutes we've had already, an offload, some of the unexpected stuff, just catching the defensive lines out of both teams.
This is an important cog in the wheel, is Junior Moores, coming off the bench for the 4th game in a row.
Well, Warrington are waiting for that quick play of the ball, from which Darrell Clark generally springs forward. Goodwin might give it him here now. We know that they will certainly spark into life here. They get a couple of quick play of the balls, and he sets off running.
There is Clark. He hands it on to Roberts. And Joe Philbin is off the bench. I've said it a few times this year, been mightily impressed with Philbin this year when he's come into the action after about 23-24 minutes. Hughes dinks it over the top. Oh, well claimed by Matautia. How's that? That's a great take.
Well, every time the ball goes anywhere near him, the crowd really do stand, don't they? Get excited, just like when this man's got the ball as well.
And quick play the balls for Warrington were called for. Quick play the balls for Castleford being produced here as McMeekan spins it wide to the try scorer James Clare, but Bryson Goodwin gets to him. And Webster's in a dummy half. Castleford 3 tackles in the bank, are 40 metres away. McMeekan takes it forward, but Philbin stands his ground. It's McShane who's waiting once again, and he finds Junior Moores. First touch for Junior. That now finds Truman. Here is Matautia. Wide it goes to Shenton. Further wide to Eden. And Eden loses the ball forward, and it all comes to naught. Good defence, Warrington, down that right side.
Good defence from Warrington. Wasn't that a good ball from Matautia? When he goes at the line, he has a real play. Comes up with it, the ball out on the left-hand side. And Warrington did well to really deal with that threat.
Well, the game's speeded up, and I think everyone's got excited as a result. Both the players on the field and the crowd all around here. Some fast play the balls have gone end to end. And after that lull with the injury after Mitch Brown left the field, I think we're now getting back to the tempo that we all expected at the start of this match.
Clark is the dummy half for Warrington. He finds Roberts. This is Philbin. It's a good hit by Philbin. That's a little touch off the fingertips of Cooper. They're not at the races at the moment, Warrington.
Eddie, you picked him out, Philbin, and so did Liam Watts. Liam Watts knows how explosive the substitute can be. He hits him with everything. He forces him into that offload, and Mike Cooper just can't get to it. Cass going really close, then gives the ball to Shenton. Then Greg Eden looks for one of his teammates.
Both teams, to me, seem to have the focus and their emphasis on the defensive efforts. We watched Castleford against Wigan. They let themselves down in the first half, showed character in the second half, but defensively they have a completely different mentality. And Warrington look like they're trying to absorb what Castleford are trying to throw at them, not let the line get breached. They haven't challenged and tested too much yet with the ball.
But they might before the match finishes tonight. So far, it's certainly not the sort of performance you want to go to Wembley with. You'd want a little bit more spark than they're currently showing. Hughes is all over the top of Jake Truman. Here goes Massey again. He really stands firm in the challenge, doesn't he, Joe Philbin? Will not be shrugged off. Junior Moores now will take it forward for the Tigers. Lex going well. Gets to within 8 meters of the line. McShane is waiting. And he finds Massey, who in turn finds Liam Watts. Liam Watts can see the try line. He's hauled down by Jack Hughes. Last tackle coming up. McShane dabs the ball into the in-goal area. And it's a try for Castleford. No doubt about that. I think it was Junior Moores. It was Junior Moores. But he's only been on the field a matter of minutes. But Junior Moores was the man who reacted quickest. He got to the ball as it was stabbed through. And Junior Moores, 4th try of the season. A medial ligament injury against Warrington in the Super League last year in the win. Here tonight a try.
Big defence from Castleford, led by Liam Watts. And it was the craft of Paul McShane. Looking at the sticks, look what he's doing. He shapes to go left, looks right, he's aware of where people are. And the tenacity of that chase, even though players are in the way, and he has to shrug and bump off a couple of them to get to the ball. Junior Moores has the composure to catch the ball and score the try for Cass.
Isn't that a clever kick? He doesn't kick it across the face of the defenders. He goes out, steps back in, kicks it nice and direct and into that man's path.
I think Nathan Massey would have been looking for a penalty try. He got a right shove in the back from Junior Moores. Moores was not going to be denied. Ellis here now then to add the extras to make it 12-0. It is.
Well, in slow motion, this looks like a very simple kick that Paul McShane puts in for Moores to score. But if it was that simple, lots of other teams would have players in the hooking position, putting that kick in, and they were scoring from him. The Tigers are the best at this. He's practiced it hard. He's patient. If you imagine, he's got a limited time. He's got a very small window in which to put the ball between 2 or 3 defenders close around that play the ball area, and he does it better than most.
And the debate about Man of Steel will be rumbling on over the next 5 or 6 weeks before the big event in the week of the grand final. And Ben Barber was nailed on in many people's minds very early in the piece this year, but I've been hearing little whispers about Paul McShane.
There's a lot of 9s in the frame for me. Roby, McShane, Darryl Clark, who's here on show this evening. I came to this game excited about the spines, the 1, 6, 7 and 9 from both sides, looking at how they would compete, how they would get into the game and try and outplay one another. And Paul McShane's been on hand for that latest try. Will we see Darryl Clark come back and return fire?
There's McShane again, this time left-footed, right down the middle of the field. Ratchford picks it up. It's another good chase from the Castleford Tigers. Watts was leading the way with Shenton and Jake Truman. And they're asking Warrington to score long-range tries tonight. They're not giving them much opportunity on their own line. That's good defence against Ben Pomeroy now.
Well, they kick long and then all of a sudden you're defending shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, they've conceded the penalty though. Too slow off the grounded player.
Well, this is the second time that they've gave a penalty away close to Warrington's line. They do everything well. They win tackle one. It's all nice and controlled, and then you just gift that 30 metres, maybe 40 metres away.
Still 0-0 at Huddersfield and Hull FC. Bit of a struggle going on there for the points. Here we've had half an hour and we've had 12 that have been scored by Castleford. Still waiting for Warrington's first. Is this their moment? As Philbin takes it forward, goes past one.
Good footwork from Philbin, beats Paul McShane.
Darryl Clark, a dummy half again. Here is Roberts. And Jack Hughes takes it forward. Jack Hughes, a 79th consecutive appearance tonight. Here's Sitaleki Akuola. And he's a big man as well, but Castleford just content to let him wander his way over the line. They hold him up, and Steve Price's men will take it back. The tackle count will restart on the 10-metre mark.
Well, Kevin Brown setting up for a big shift on the left-hand side then. And could see as well. Tyrone Roberts, Stephen Ratchford positioning himself out the back. Here they go.
And it's Philbin. He's grounded right underneath those posts. There's Clark. That's a nice kick. It evades one. But it's shuttled over the dead ball line by Joe Wardle. It's a goal line dropout, though. It's pressure from Warrington that's building.
Well, Paul McShane at one end, Darryl Clark at the other, getting out from dummy half. They can spot things, can't they? Always scanning when they're going into the dummy half position. All good nines have got to have a good kicking game close to the line, as well as a good passing game, whether it be long or short. You've got to make sure the accuracy of your kicks and your passes are there for your teammates so they don't break a stride. And both of these nines have got it.
So goal line dropout here for Castleford to defend. And he gets it almost up to halfway, but here is Ratchford to run it back at Holmes and Moores, and then McShane makes sure he's going nowhere with the ankles clasped tightly together. Darryl Clark now, and Aquola again. Been off the bench 18 times now this season, has the Tongan. As Clark has a little scamper away, finds George King, he finds Roberts, short ball from Roberts to Jack Hughes, and that's good defence from Jake Truman. Clark again, gets it back to Roberts. Here is Kevin Brown. Now it's Bodine Thompson. McMeekin with a telling tackle. Ratchford waiting. Here is Kevin Brown again. He's lost that ball into a Castleford player. It's a knock on.
Good defence. I think it was Jake Webster. Jake Webster comes in, pulls the trigger on Kevin Brown. And you see the effort. You know that Kevin Brown has got that long shoot ball over here that normally picks out the winger, trying to find him. But the effort just comes in and snuffs this play out.
I think sometimes in a half, and we've got 32 minutes and only 2 tries, you can sometimes question the quality of the attack. Well, I think this is the opposite. It's the quality of the defence on both sides, shutting players down, making it difficult, forcing mistakes, forcing errors, both sides.
Scrum goes down 10 metres away from the Castleford line. Webster trying to work the ball downfield. 7 minutes to the half-time break. I don't know whether any Warrington fans watching tonight are superstitious, but last time they were at Wembley in 2016, Warrington beat Castleford the week before the final on home soil, 14 points to 11. They then went to Wembley and lost to Hull the following week. There will be groans all across Warrington right now. Here comes Mitch Clark for the Castleford Tigers.
Here's another player I like to watch. Fully committed in whatever he does, Mitch Clark.
McShane finds Truman. Holmes was the runner on his shoulder. This is the last tackle coming up for Castleford. And McShane just drills the ball into touch. Right, I think we need some news of Mitch Brown, who's off the field injured, taken off on a stretcher. Meanwhile, there's a Warrington man down in back play, Castleford man down in back play as well. It's Liam Watts. Bill, you've got a bit of news for us.
That's right, Eddie. No more Mitch Brown tonight for the Warrington Wolves, and it's sad news. The word coming out of the Warrington medical room is that it's a dislocated knee, which is season ending potentially, obviously, and Mitch Brown has had some bad luck in his career with knee problems, had missed an entire season in his NRL days because of a bad knee injury, so he will not be coming back. And Liam Watts just leaving the field now, replaced by Nathan Massey for the Castleford Tigers. Sad news, though, of Mitch Brown.
It is really sad news for Mitch Brown, and this is where Watts maybe picked up his injury.
Well, he was phenomenal last week, wasn't he? Wigan played the full 80 minutes, really took the game to his opposite.
Well, it wasn't there, obviously, because he got up and played the ball and he was A-OK.
No, he did.
Did
it
he?
was that.
Did he
That's how tough it was. He got up, played it quickly, and then went back down to the ground. He was in pain. Probably winded or damaged his back as he landed on the ground with a firm tackle. That's
the old rules, that, Eddie. Get up, play your ball, and then get your treatment after that.
This is Lynham now. Solid defence on show from Castleford here. They will be well pleased if they get to half-time with a fat 0 against the Warrington Wolves name. They really will.
Been very committed. The cast side in defence, not static, getting off the line, getting in the faces. Every time a Warrington player is going at the line, they're hitting in numbers, and you can just see Paul McShane then just trying to hold King up for a split second longer, just so the defensive line can get back and set.
Just can't break through this Castleford defence. They might do here. That's a good offload. This is Darrell Clark, and then he gets the ball away to Stephen Ratchford, and Ratchford has broken clear. Ratchford, one of the danger men all year. James Clare is holding back line and in back play. Don't think the touch judge or the referee saw it, so no penalties forthcoming. It might have been. This is the last one here for Warrington. It's Tyrone Roberts. Roberts then to Philbin. Philbin to Jack Hughes. Hughes gets it away, and the Castleford defence stands firm, as it turns out. But Stephen Price, we're looking to this side of the field, and certainly Lynham, you watch him in back play here. Watch as he comes together with Clare here. Look at this.
Well, look at the control as well from Metalti. He didn't panic, did he? Didn't bite in. Just waited for that tackle, waited for the player to come towards him. Just as you said, Eddie, this Warrington side can't get through this Cast defence.
Excellent work, both sides of the ball, and Castleford to get back and deny that try. Want to go into half-time with the scoreline 12-0, and it's 0-0 in the other game this evening.
Yes, Huddersfield and Hull 0-0.
There's a problem here. James Clare just took a knee to the head then as he was going down.
Well, that won't please Barry, because he got up and played the ball as well and then looked for sympathy. It was a forward who did it before. McMeekan now. Brown though, and right, what an offload that was. Here's Ellis, gets it away to Truman.
It's the offloads that will catch either side out this evening. The quality of offloads and the decision when and where to do it.
The ricochet in centre field. Massey has it, but it's still last tackle and turnover.
He's maturing every game, isn't he, Jake Truman? He doesn't just look up to play and tip the ball on to somebody in broken field. He looks to take on the defensive line. He's looking for that defender that maybe just has switched off.
He's the youngest, and I think he's been the best of the four halfbacks on the field. He's phenomenal. Got to be a contender for young player of the season.
Right, he's in line for it, certainly. 19 years of age.
Oh, good tackle.
Well, that's what Mitch Clark brings to you. Aggressive go forward, aggressive in defence.
He felt that, George King. Meanwhile, this is Jack Hughes.
Just picks him out, doesn't he? Hits him with everything. Not the tallest, Mitch Clark.
That's Darrell Clark. This is Kevin Brown. Now it's Tyrone Roberts. Off the ball up again to Philbin.
All of the timing and angles wrong there, weren't they, for the Wolves?
Yes, they're stuttering through this first half. They really are. As Roberts takes it forward again, and he finds Ratchford. Shenton straight in the face of Toby King. And Toby King has been good in Ryan Atkins' absence. Ratchford again, last tackle coming up for Warrington, so up goes the kick. Tyrone Roberts was hit by Truman after the kick, but nothing too serious, and Matautia has it back for the Castleford Tigers.
I don't think he got that wrong then. Matautia is a powerful runner. You don't want to give him some space. The ball just comes down in front of him. He just manages to pull it back in.
Here goes Truman again. 2 minutes to the half-time siren. Castleford ahead 12-0. Can they make it an even better situation as they go into the dressing rooms at the break? Good work. Good work by Jack Hughes. Here is McShane. McShane gets the kick away, and he finds touch on that far side. He was under pressure with the kick. It looked as though it might just spew off the outside of the boot and out on the full, but did okay.
He's so important, isn't he, Paul McShane? We talk about the halfbacks and what halves can do, but the 9, you look at him when he goes behind dummy half, he's talking to his forwards, he's pointing at the players that he wants them to run at, whether it be a smaller player, whether it be a bigger player. He's just directing that game plan that he's been given by the coach, Darrell Powell.
He's having a great season, Paul McShane. He missed the Warrington game in June, and that was the first match he'd missed in 48 games. There he is again, involved in the tackle on George King. Darrell Clark finds Kevin Brown, who in turn gets the ball away, but what a tackle that was by Shenton on Tyrone Roberts. The Warrington halfback felt that.
They both did. He just flung himself into that collision and managed to walk away. Both players.
Greg Eden has picked the pocket Warrington. He's going down the line and he'll score in the corner. It was a flying leap for the ground. And Gareth Hughes having a look at his touch judge, and they're not 100% convinced.
He's off the field when he puts the ball down.
They've got a try on the field. Just check the grounding. He's done this so many times in 2017, Greg Eden. It's just the grounding they're looking for. Stuart?
That's right, and we know he's a specialist at this. Touch and grounding was what the touch judge asked for when he went through. He's certainly well outside play, but nothing's in touch. I think he maintains control of that ball coming down. So there's just about a finger on it.
Oh,
that's
wow.
all.
Good job he didn't get his nails cut this morning.
He made that look hard, didn't it?
Doesn't he do everything to really get the crowd going? He jumps from inside of the field of play to outside of the field of play, and looks like he's just got a fingertip on that ball.
I am just asking myself why. Why make it that difficult? But if he gets the try, he gets away with it, looks fantastic.
Well,
if he doesn't,
the try's being given on the field.
Yeah.
There's nothing there to even suggest that it'll be overturned. So this will be confirmed.
Ben Thaler has had a good look at the grounding. I think this will go green. Try it is. They increase the lead right before half-time, and Greg Eden back on the wing where he's more at home. Gets his 7th try of the season. He's on 49 for Castleford now.
Well, he's certainly an entertainer, isn't he? And look at that. As soon as he catches that ball, he puts on the afterburners. Played down under in the NRL for Brisbane Broncos, comes up with a finish that gets the crowd just biting the fingernails. And he knew exactly what he was doing.
I think Darryl Powell had been biting his fingernails as well when he saw the replay of that. But Greg Eden gets the try right on the stroke of half-time, as you see, and you've probably heard in the background the siren has sounded. There is Darryl, waiting to make his way from one side of the field to the other. Now then, can Ellis add the extras? It's like the first kick he had from this side of the ground. The difference is he's a right-footed kicker. This has got a chance. Just the wrong side of the posts. Half-time, and Castleford lead by 16 points to 0. James Clare with the first try on 7 minutes. Ellis added a penalty goal on a quarter of an hour. Moore's got a try on 28, and Eden sped down the wing right on the stroke of half-time. Ellis has missed the conversion, but the Tigers turn round. The happier of the two teams. They lead at the break by 16 points to 0.
You spray, you trip. Use Gold. Smell fresh all day with new Lynx Gold Body Spray. When things get really hot, stay dry all day with Lynx Gold Antiperspirant.
Pay 0% interest at Curry's PC World.
Our new range of LG OLED TVs starts from only $1,799. Spread the cost with 18 months interest-free credit. Own this stunning 55-inch LG B8 for under £100 a month. Go bigger and get the 65-inch for an extra £39 a month. Come and test drive the Dyson V10, their latest and most powerful cordless. Now less than £25 a month over 18 months. Plus, we have interest-free credit on lots of other products too. From the latest laptops and TVs to cameras and built-in appliances. Now you can get the tech you really want. At Curry's PC World, we help you get it right.
The Sky Store sale is here to brighten up your summer. With loads of movies for you to own from just $3.99.
Do you guys like to dance?
You call that dancing? This is dancing.
Oh my God, these things are crazy!
Choose to own on digital, DVD or Blu-ray.
Who's with me?
This summer sale will have you dancing for joy.
My whole life has been building to this moment.
Let's do this.
The Sky Store sale is now on.
Unbelievable.
Too right. Betway's 4 to score game has rolled over. This week's hotting up with the rollover at 50 grand. It's free to play and all you need to do is predict the first goal scorers in the 4 selected matches.
Really?
You bet. And it'll keep rolling over until there's a winner up to 250 grand. Electrifying stuff. For the love of the game. Betway.
For their sake, let's pass on plastic. Sky Ocean Rescue.
See England's heroes next in the UEFA Nations League, coming soon exclusively live on Sky Sports.
Here's Salah. Well read by Edison, but not well cleared.
Surely Liverpool's day now. That was an absolute wicked kick, that.
A bumper day of rugby league coming up for you live on Sky Sports tomorrow. A doubleheader from the NRL. Fast-fading St George Illawarra have dropped outside of the top 4. They take on the West Tigers, 8:25. Sky Sports Arena, same channel, 10:30. Cronulla against the North Queensland Cowboys. Last appearance in Sydney for Jonathan Thurston. And then from the qualifiers, Salford Widnes, 3 p.m. from the AJ Bell Stadium. That's followed by Catalan Wigan from the Super 8s. What have the Dragons got before they head to Wembley? Wigan have beaten them in the last 8 encounters between these two sides. And then for the first time ever on Sky Sports, we bring you the Toronto Wolfpack in what is a crucial qualifiers match for both them and Hull Kingston Rovers. 7:30 p.m. Sky Sports Arena. We're at Castleford at the Mendehouse Jungle. Round 2 of the Betfred Super League Super 8 sees the Castleford Tigers 16 points to the good against the Warrington Wolves. The Wembley-bound Warrington Wolves. More on that shortly. There is another match. Huddersfield Giants, well, they have won their last 5. They are playing a team that have lost their last 5. It is 0-0 at half-time. Heavy rain at the John Smith Stadium has made it difficult for both sides. There have been a couple of first-half chances. We hope to bring you any tries if they do come from the John Smith Stadium at the end of this game. The stats from Castleford. Well, it shows a completion rate of 86% for the home side. They will be delighted with that. Steve Price not so, with a 61% completion rate. Not many missed tackles from either side. 2-4. Handling errors 3-5. The Warrington Wolves will want to fix that area up as well. They presented some great opportunities to the Castleford Tigers through their own mistakes. Right, John, I want to start by talking to you about something Stephen Price, the Warrington Wolves coach, said before the game. He said, I'll know in the first 5 or 10 minutes whether my side have got one eye on Wembley. I'm telling you, looking at that from the first 40 minutes, I see a side with both eyes on Wembley.
The Warrington Wolves have come up with some uncharacteristic errors and more painfully for Warrington Wolves fans inside their own half and early in the tackle count. I'll counter that and say that the Castleford Tigers have provided a huge response from the way that they started the game against Wigan last week. There's been a huge emphasis on that during the training, the talks that Darryl Powell's had with his men this week. And I think a lot of those errors have been forced. I think the defence has had a real intensity and steel about it, and it culminated, didn't it, with that pressure and James Clare crossing on 8 minutes.
There was a couple of there was a penalty kick after that. Junior Moore's try came from a brilliant Paul McShane kick. This just at the death here. I'll tell you what, Greg Eden, he doesn't do it easy, John.
No, he's a man who can provide or promote grey hairs in a coach or a director of rugby. I can tell you that. It's something that perhaps he does need to work on. We know what a talented player he is. That 10 out of 10 shot every time, I mean, they come off sometimes, and he should get the plaudits for that, for the intercept at least. But, if he's going to go and take that next step in his career, just sometimes rein it in a bit.
Before we go and have a look, that was an unconverted try scored by Ellis at the end of the game, 16-0 to the Castleford Tigers. Before we have a look at a bit more analysis in depth, just finish off on that point about Wembley. Do you think they have an eye on Wembley, or are you not buying that argument?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I spoke to Barry McDermott earlier today about this. He's been in a few of these games before the big game situations, and he said he'd be lying if he didn't say it was at the back of the mind. But they're good at doing that, are professional players, putting things to the back of the mind, compartmentalising things. It's Castleford's job, which I think they've done well, in making sure that's resurfaced and that's brought to the front of their mind.
That's what Darryl Powell said before the game. We've got to make them think about next week. Well, whether or not they have done that, certainly the scoreline is going their way. Phil Clark made a point in commentary about the full-back position at Castleford. Have had huge issues with following Zach Hardaker's departure. May Peter Matautia be the solution that they have been craving? Well,
the first specialist fullback to play for the Castleford Tigers was Quentin Lailu-Tonga, and he joined in June. Peters has joined at the end of July, and this is his first actual game at fullback for us. But you can see there are glimpses of that in this first 40 minutes, that perhaps that is the missing piece in the jigsaw for the Tigers. But it's worth, given that he's involved in this first try, having a bit of a look at this. And Liam Watts got through an absolute shed load of work in the first 40 minutes. His work round the back of the ruck, which has become a bit of a trademark for him, means now that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players from this Warrington Wolves on the inside of that upright, which means there's 3 out of vision. Have a look at Peter Matautia. He's already on his way. But there are 2 other elements to this that I think that are pretty important. One which is what Castleford do well, one which Warrington do poorly. And the first I'll say is the man who's going to make the big difference, the biggest difference apart from Peter Matautia, is this man. Because he knows now that the third man in defence, Kevin Brown, is the man he needs to hold. So there's going to be a line run on the inside of here. And look at the timing. Doesn't even move until late in the day. Once that's out, Matautia gets the time then to assess that defensive line. The problem with the defensive line? This. Too tight from Lynham, gives James Clare a free run on the outside. The pass, by the way, was still excellent. However, it's not just on that side of the football that the Tigers and any team that we need a top fullback. As we have a look at the reverse angle, you get another look at Matautia's pass here. Gets time to look because of that line on the inside of him. It's the other side of the ball as well, Brian, and that's something that I think that if you want to make a move to the top of Super League and play consistently there.
Castleford have been off their best defensively as well this year.
They have. You need a fullback who can do this for you. Can clean up, get set started, gets in between 2 players, down quickly, and allows some front foot rugby league for the man behind him. So these are all elements that I think Castleford at times have been missing, and I think on the evidence of this first 40 minutes, that's something that Peter Matautia can provide. This is probably the most important. Nice and calm, collected, makes Stephen Ratchford make his decision and then brings him down.
Okay, listen, I'm trying to think about what Stephen Price will be saying at half-time for this. Do you see a way for Warrington back into this game?
Yeah, well, I think Castleford's form over the last couple of weeks has been pretty patchy, and I think the result against the defeat rather against Wigan last week will provide Steve Price with some hope. The Tigers have been throwing an awful lot at Darryl Clark and have been making him soak up a lot of defence, which has been neutralising that attack for him. But first and foremost, they've got to cut out the errors because they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're not giving themselves a platform from which Clark can play.
We did say for the loser in this game tonight, the punishment may outweigh the prize because the Huddersfield Giants are finishing this season fast. At the John Smith Stadium, they're taking on Hull FC. It was 0-0 at half-time. There's been 2 converted tries at the start of the second half. Alex Meller scoring, that converted, and then Lee Gaskell scoring underneath the sticks. That knocked over as well. 12-0 to Huddersfield. That means they close the gap on the 4th place side. That is currently the Castleford Tigers. Right, Stephen Price has 40 more minutes before he takes his team down to Wembley. We'll look at the Warrington dressing room shortly. Darryl Powell, first and foremost, though, I say his side have done everything that had been asked of them. They have made it very difficult for the visitors and have a 16-0 half-time lead. What can Steve Price say to inspire his side? Cut out the errors is John Wells' suggestion. That would absolutely be a long way to do it. You would think he's signalling as well, though, to speed up this game. Get this game going at a higher pace when they have the ball. They have not challenged the Castleford Tigers. Right, we've got a break coming on the way. Eddie and the boys standing by the other side of it. Second 40 minutes from this round 2 game for the Betfred Super League Super 8s. Half-time, it's 16-0 to the Castleford Tigers. Second 40 minutes away.
Big chase on him, Luke Gay with a drop goal! He has kicked it!
What is the new Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid? It's electric and petrol power combined. It's electric and delivers up to 159 miles per gallon. It's electric and a four-wheel drive SUV. And at just £289 a month plus 20% VAT for business users, it's electric and affordable. The new Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. It's electric and more.
Drive your ambition. Mitsubishi Motors.
Is there anyone who doesn't want me dead?
Next time you get in my way, I will not be so gentle.
Girl problems again.
Hands up!
Marvel Spider-Man, only on PlayStation. For the players.
This is David Duke, Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. That David Duke? You're darn tootin'. The KKK is planning an attack.
I'm telling you, the wars are coming.
How do you propose to make this investigation?
We'll establish contact over the phone. We'll need a white officer to play me when they meet face to face.
You for the white race trial?
Oh, hell yeah. Can you do that?
With the right white man, we can do anything.
Black Klansman in cinemas August 24.
My gut says this season's going to have some surprises. My smarts say that whatever happens, Betfair has the best odds on the Premier League. Which means when I win bigger. Betfair, where gut instinct meets smarts.
Your emergency. Whoever did this is a savage.
This is the work of a sociopath. I saw it, I wanted it, and I took it.
I didn't kill them.
Oh, I'm in.
Let the games begin!
We're calling a vote of no confidence on my dad. It'll be hostile, hostile, hostile.
We're eating family style.
Well, almost like we're a family.
You hurt them, and then you watch them squeal.
Them perhaps weave a little bit of magic. What a day for rugby league fans we've got coming up for you tomorrow. We have 5 matches all in a row, and I'll tell you about them later on in this half, because Castleford and Warrington are ready to get the second 40 minutes underway. 16-0, Castleford lead. The big change has been made during half-time by the Warrington coach, Stephen Price. Tyrone Roberts is still in the dressing room, and Declan Patton is out for Warrington, replacing him for the second half. Now, is that an eye on Wembley, or is that an eye on the fact that Tyrone Roberts was very quiet in that first 40 minutes?
Very quiet, wasn't a threat, and obviously it'll be interesting to see whether Steve Price took him off because of his performance this evening, or whether they're looking at next week. The completion rates from both sides, well, I think that was the telling factor in the first half. The position that they had the ball, completing the sets, turning over on their terms, all in Cass's favour.
Now, Warrington looking for improvement in the second half, not only for their Super League ambitions, but also, of course, for their Wembley trip next week. And with Huddersfield ahead against Hull FC, there will be a chance for them to close. I think I said in the first half a couple of times 3 points adrift. They will actually be 4 points adrift of fourth-placed Warrington if they beat Hull later on or today, and as far as Warrington are concerned, they face Huddersfield at home on the 7th of September in these Super 8s. That will be a really, really big event as far as those two clubs are concerned. So Huddersfield closing in. They might well be 4 points behind Warrington at the end of tonight. Bill, they're leading 14-0. Bill Arthur now has the half-time news.
Hang on a minute, Ed. Warrington on the attack.
They are, with Bryson Goodwin 10 metres away from the line. There's another Warrington man down in back play, by the way. Here is Kevin Brown. Pops it up to Joe Philbin. And Philbin takes the ball in towards those posts once again. Darrell Clark is in some strife here. Here is Dec Patton. Patton with the kick to the in-goal area, and Greg Eden has to just shuttle the ball dead. And it's a goal line dropout that Castleford will put in here.
Well, worrying signs for Steve Price, the coach. Dec Patton with the kick. Well, when Bryson Goodwin goes down, and there's obviously a problem with Darrell Clark as well. And then he was struggling with his foot or his boot and his knee as well from a previous challenge. When he goes through the line here, he's looking for the offload. He gives it to Bryson Goodwin, but then goes down again in that tackle.
There's a defender that swung round, caught him unaware, and he couldn't get back in the defensive line. Still looks in trouble.
Well, that'll be a worry, not only for tonight but for next week as well. They've already lost Mitch Brown, unlikely to play at Wembley, but Darrell Clark, well, he would be a certainty to play in the Challenge Cup final. This is Joe Philbin now.
And Bryson Goodwin over on the left side, he looks like he's limping as well.
Here goes Akuola. Anxious times for the coaching staff of Warrington, as Patton attacks the line and finds Brown, and Brown just drops the ball off once again to Bodine Thompson. There's Kevin Brown. This is Goodwin again. Big test of the Castleford defence at the start of this second half. They were equal to just about everything Warrington threw at them in the first. Kevin Brown, George King. Harassing from Mitch Clark, but he gets the ball away brilliantly to Darrell Clark on one leg, and he then finds Akuola. And Akuola brings it forward, tries to go in between a couple. Castleford stand firm. Last tackle coming up then. Can Warrington force another repeat set? Dec Patton on the ball. He finds Kevin Brown. Brown will stab it into the in-goal area looking for Stephen Ratchford. Yes, they will. Yes, they will get the try. Great start to the second half for Warrington. Stephen Ratchford on the end of a delicate kick from Kevin Brown. And that repeat set paying dividends. And Warrington are on the board.
Well, he has a knack of being in the right place at the right time. Stephen Ratchford, you could see him call that play. He cuts across the back of Kevin Brown, and Kevin Brown reacts to the space in which he's going to go to. And you can just see, looks over his shoulder, sees his fullback just pop up in the right place, and that's with a couple of players that are down and still don't look like they're moving well in Goodwin and Darrell Clark.
But he's just scored his 10th try of the season as Stephen Ratchford, and he's about to pop over his 26th goal of the campaign as well, to reduce the deficit to 10 points in the rain here at the Menderhose Jungle. Ratchford has the extras, 16-6 for Castleford. Bill, they rudely interrupted you.
Well, Eddie, one of the words that Steve Price used as he came out of the dressing room just before the start of the second half was woeful, to describe Warrington's first 40 minutes. Attitude was all wrong. He said you're not going to get very far, not going to get anything right if the attitude's not right, and that's what they've got to fix first. And it looks as though, despite having Darrell Clark and Bryson Goodwin limping, they've managed to fix that attitude and get them their first points of the game. Bit of concern, though, about those two, and Steve Price and Andrew Henderson, the coaching duo for Warrington, have been down on the sidelines conferring, maybe just trying to work out who to take off and who to put where, because I'm sure that they really don't want to risk Clark and Goodwin if there are injury concerns with them. Darrell Powell emerged from the Castleford dressing room delighted with his side's performance in the first 40 minutes. Once more of the same. Defensively, they were very good. Could be better in attack. Maybe take one or two better options, which would yield them some more points. But they've obviously got a battle on their hands in this second half, because Warrington's attitude has obviously improved.
Very much so, you're right, Bill, and their tails are up at the moment. And Hull have hit back. at Huddersfield. It's 14-6 there right now as well. But remember, Hull win, Warrington lose here. The gap is down to 4 points. James Clare hit hard by Bodine Thompson and 2 others. That's great work from Warrington. The attitude has changed. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Deck Patton puts a fabulous kick in. He stood on the right, kicks towards the left, and look at the chase here. 4 players ready. Kevin Brown holds, I think it's James Clare up, and 2 defenders come in and push him over the try line. Excellent work from Warrington Wolves.
It's commitment. He's probably picked out the worst man to go at Bodine Thompson. He steps into him, tries to go through him. Maybe the play would have been to try and pick Kevin Brown out or go around him. He's picked out a solid defender and definitely a player who hunts in defence, Bodine Thompson.
So goal line dropout taken by Jamie Ellis. Ooh, look at the length on this. Way over the halfway line, about 15 metres inside the Warrington half of the field. And King will run the ball back for Warrington. George King will play the ball here to Darrell Clark. Looks like he might have run that injury off for the time being. Akuola will take it forward again for Warrington. Down he goes. The Warrington coming forward once more here, looking for their second try as Patton puts a nice short little pass to Jack Hughes. And Patton again on the ball. He started the second half brightly. Good pass to Brown. He finds Thompson again. Thompson tries to step through a couple, but Ellis managed to hang on to him with help from McMeekin. He's down. 4 gone, 2 left in the bag. It's with Kevin Brown. George King again. That's a good hit from Junior Moores. And 3 metres out on tackle number 5. Warrington in possession with Kevin Brown. Brown then gets it away. They're in again. This time with Bryson Goodwin. What a start to the second half for Warrington. The comeback's on. There's no doubt about that. Is it the words of Stephen Price? Is it the presence of Declan Patton?
Without a doubt, Eddie. Deck Patton and Kevin Brown finally combining to chuck the questions. Here's the kick and chase from Deck Patton. Good reaction. Kev Brown in the vicinity. Bodine Thompson. Great work in defence. Excellent attitude and effort. And when Kevin Brown sees what numbers are in front of him, he uses the foil of Bodine Thompson, puts it across his chest, deceives the defenders in front of him, and the eyes of the centre Jake Webster are looking inside and the space is created.
This is his special play, isn't it, Kevin Brown? The shoot ball at the line, pulling defenders up towards him. He's the man who has control, and well, Lee Brace, Steve Price and John Clark, the coaching staff, know that they're back in this game now. And I'm sure some of the words that were said at half-time, Eddie, by the coach, Steve Price, is, look, lads, some of you lads are playing your way out of the final next week with your performance in the opening 40.
Is Declan Patton playing his way in?
Well, he's certainly moved. I agree with you, Eddie. His movement, he's looked more interested than any of the other Warrington players who played on the field in the first 40 minutes. And I think that's something I always remember, you know, Harry Redknapp saying about football players. If nothing else, move around, run around and look active. At least if you look enthusiastic, it's going to help the team. And he's certainly done that since he came on the field. There was obviously going to be a reaction after a poor first half, and that kick comes in.
Yes, he's kicked it, has Stefan Ratchford. It's 16-12, and suddenly it's not as rosy looking for Castleford now. But Warrington, with 2 tries in 4 minutes of this second half, are turning this game upside down.
It's just a good line, isn't it, from Goodwin? It's a good ball as well. And he's the dominant halfback, Ken Brown, and that man, Darrell Parr, will be disappointed with the way they started in the second half.
Given us a far more interesting second half, probably a more stressful one for the coach.
Well, why is Roberts off the field? I think Bill's on the case.
It turns out it's concussion assessment, Eddie, which came to light during half-time, apparently, and that is why he's still in the dressing room and has not yet reappeared. Whether he will reappear the way that Declan Patton has taken a hold of this game, well, that's another question, but Roberts off the field for that head assessment at the moment.
So there's net another worry for Warrington in terms of player personnel, but at the moment they are back in the hunt for this match. 16-12 they trail. 9 minutes of the second half though, and they've scored 2 tries. And George King will play the ball to Clark. Here is Chris Hill. They're running with a lot more vim and vigour in this second 40. Deck Patton, measured kick, and it goes high. Matauti though is safe. Ratchford though, great run after the kick, great tackle. Oh, and Ratchford goes down injured now.
As soon as he catches that ball, Metalti looks to go at the line, doesn't he? And Ratchford now pulls away from that play as well, not comfortable. Maybe
something with his arm, I think, or his fingers, or his wrist. Well, every time a Warrington player hits the ground and comes away with a possible injury, Hearts will be missing a beat. That's a good hit.
Well, with Tyrone Roberts off, and if he passes the test and comes back on the field, there's a penalty here from Chris Hill. Pushes Mitch Clark back just as he gets up to play the ball. But certainly affect the interchange. Deck Patton could have come on for Darrell Clark. If Darrell Clark's really struggling, would they take him on, bring him into the field? But that's dependent on whether Tyrone Roberts is fit to get back on the field.
They'd want him to pass the concussion test. I mean, we're 8 days away from Wembley, Stuart. I think it's a full 7 days he's got to be cleared before he can play after concussion.
I think there's different
interpretations
depending on the state of it. But a lot will depend on what sort of assessment he has now.
So McShane from dummy half. Moores straight at Thompson. He stands his ground. Castleford serenely looking as though they were on their way to 2 points, now looking to steady this ship down as McShane takes control and finds Oliver Holmes, and Holmes tries to go past Patton. Good work on this near side. It's with Truman into centre field. It goes to Moores. Moores to Ellis. Ellis then Matautia. Quick hands. Webster, was that touched? Knocked forward by Warrington hand.
Yes.
I think it was. Head and feet Castleford.
Yeah, Warrington trying to get up, trying to shut that play down. A big shift from Castleford. Ellis takes it to the line. Matautia is trying to catch and pass, which puts pressure onto the centre, Jake Webster. And you see Tommy Lynham just gets a hand to that ball. His right shoulder is looking to tackle the player. His left arm is trying to bat that ball down like a basketball.
And so Castleford are going to get head and feet 20 metres out from the Warrington line. These two sides, of course, founder members of the Super League in 1996. This the 54th meeting. Warrington 33 wins, Castleford only 20. And here, Warrington have won 17-9 as well. So it's a tough ask for Castleford against Warrington usually. Shenton to Eden. Oh, good defence from Jack Hughes.
That's excellent play, isn't it, from the back rower? No, the way that they were looking to move that ball as it goes upstairs to the video ref, Ben Fairley.
Well, it's plain what's happened. But anyway, it's gone upstairs.
How do you restart, though? I think that's the question he wants help with.
Well, again, similar situation to the last one. A bit more pressure. Well, you see his foot's out, so it'll be a scrum, won't it? Because it wasn't the last tackle. So we'll have a scrum 10 metres out and 20 metres in.
It's no try, we know that.
Wasn't that a big play, though?
And you're right, Stuart. As always.
Big play from Jack Hughes.
Tremendous.
You know, Ben Pomeroy was well and truly beaten for speed. And look at him, the way he gets over the field. Look, he's defending out. He's looking up. He's across the line. He knows that there's some space. Then all of a sudden, he just accelerates. That's good work from the big back rower. He was beaten. He thinks that he's in for the try. Then all of a sudden, he sees Hughes coming in. And that just keeps him in the game, that effort.
It does indeed. And they get the possession, of course, from the scrum, and they do even better than that. I think Castleford were offside at the scrum.
We're looking for some speedy rucks now. Stephen Ratchford trying to take a quick tap as you can see Castleford offside. I think it's Mitch Clark who gets up. Gareth Hewitt tries to call him out. He got involved with the play.
And so here come Warrington from the halfway line. They begin this set, and Patton finds Brown. This is Philbin. He's a difficult man to put to ground. Low centre of gravity. Eventually gets there, courtesy of McShane. And dragging the shirt off his back. Here is Hill. And Hill will play the ball to Clark. Knock on. I was going to say Hill will play the ball to Clark of a fashion.
Well, they get where they want to be. And the mistake, centre field, Chris Hill, always difficult to try and put down.
There you go, he just loses control of that ball, doesn't he? It's the wrestle and the grapple from Castleford Tigers. They're making it messy and scrappy for Warrington. The first quarter, they were particularly good at controlling the ball, controlling defenders when they had hold of them. They didn't take them to ground necessarily as quick as Warrington would have liked.
So I've told you at the start of the second half we've got 5 big games for you tomorrow live on Sky Sports over 12 hours if you add the start tomorrow at 8:25. Wests against St George Illawarra, 8:25 Sky Sports Arena. That's followed by Cronulla against North Queensland, 10:30, also on Sky Sports Arena. They're from the NRL. Then we switch our attention in the afternoon to the qualifiers and the Super 8s. Salford Widnes at 3 tomorrow. Big game for Widnes. Catalan Wigan tomorrow at 5:15, and rounding up with Toronto at home on Sky Sports Live for the first time against Hull KR, and it's a big match for Rovers as well, that one. So over 10 hours live and spread across 12 hours tomorrow on Sky Sports. What a day for rugby league fans. And if the weather's a bit inclement, just sit in front of the telly all day. You're getting the wife's nerves, but never mind.
Kevin Brown come up with a brilliant read in defence then on tackle 4. And it was on Ellis, Jamie Ellis, takes him to ground. And then all of a sudden it made it an uncomfortable kick on the final play. Got some big efforts from both sides in defence.
This is Lynham. Plays the ball to Ratchford. Certainly the Castleford defenders are pretty quick. Close down George King then, and they close down Bryson Goodwin again here. That's been a feature of the night so far. They've scored the 16 points in the first half, but they've not got over the whitewash yet in the second half, and it's been Warrington who have dominated the play. Oh, that was forward from Clark.
And the referee agrees with you. So do the Cass fans that are standing in front of us. Darryl Powell just passes that ball forward, trying to get over the advantage line.
And of course the Castleford fans will love that, the fact that Darryl Clark came up with that mistake. And Bryson Goodwin trying to run something off. Darryl Clark, when he was here with the Tigers, 2014, Young Player of the Year, Man of Steel, and a member of the Dream Team that year as well. His last year with Castleford before he moved on to pastures new at Warrington. And this year, I must say, he's been back to his best.
He's been excellent. I said before in the first half, him and Paul McShane, James Roby, we've got 3 hookers there that have been in outstanding form all year. I think both sides as well, they're just not having their own way. They're not getting those speedy rucks. As soon as you get that speedy rucks, whether it be Paul McShane or Darryl Clark, they'll exploit those quick play the balls.
It's Grant Millington now. McShane pointing which way he's coming, and he gives it to Truman. Stuck to his word, but good work from Hughes. The Warrington defence hasn't been too scratchy tonight either, by the way. There's Holmes. Here's McShane and Truman. Liam Watts back on the field. Couldn't get the ball away. Goes down, tackle number 5. Untidy around the rucks at times tonight. McShane stabs the ball in, and didn't he do well, Ben Pomeroy, to get down to that on his own line.
He likes going down that short side. Every time he's on the left and there's a 10-metre channel, he'll look to go down there and link up with the centre and winger.
Now Castleford trying to pen Warrington back near their own line here. 3 gone, 15 metres made. Lynham will try and outmuscle them, but Holmes stood his ground with help from Millington. He goes down, does Lynham. That's 4 gone. Clark to Hill. Good run from Hill, almost to the halfway line. Tackle number 5. Brown then with the kick. Long and high. Matauchi's underneath it. Claims it easily. James Clare.
Some solid defence from Castleford. And now Warrington will look to try and do the same, mate. Want to give a penalty away as Greg Eden looks to link up with Jamie Ellis. I'm not so sure that pass was on, really.
They're doing a really good job of cancelling each other out, aren't they? They're up quick, forcing mistakes, forcing errors. Players like Chris Hill, who's involved in that, making uncharacteristic mistakes. Millington and Liam Watts, the two starting front rowers, are back on for Castleford. That could give them the boost. That could give players like Jake Truman the platform to work off.
Watts gets away from Thompson, gets the ball away to Millington. He's got a ton of support with him. It's Jake Truman. Ratchford stands his ground. Truman can't get round him. Good work from Stefan Ratchford. This is Ellis. Ellis gets it back to McShane. McShane with a kick out wide, looking for that man. Eden, he goes inside the defender and scores this time. That one won't need referring upstairs. It's his second try of the night. And Greg Eden, in a win here last year, 36-16 against Warrington. He got 5 of their 7 tries that occasion to equal the club record. Well, Greg Eden knows where the try line is, and that was a peach of a kick from McShane. Laid it on the plate for Eden. He went inside the defender and blocked the ball down.
Well, Barry said with the introduction of Liam Watson, Grant Millington, their efforts, along with this man, Jake Truman, would certainly help the Cast side. Good break, good position, and what about this for a kick as well? Paul McShane, the man that we've talked about right the way through this game, kicks the ball out wide, and Greg Eden just hugs the touchline, knowing that the hooker can find him with a perfect kick, steps off his left foot and goes in.
It's absolutely spot on, that kick. And not only does he tell lies with the way he runs, the way he passes, Paul McShane, he's telling lies with his eyes when he kicks the ball. He's facing one way, kicks it off the side of his boot, right into the path of Greg Eden. But wonderful substitution, wonderful decision by Darryl Powell to change that middle, change them middlemen. Let's speed it up, let's find a better platform to work off, and it's paid in the best way possible for Castleford Tigers.
And for Greg Eden, who has just made it now to 50 tries for the Castleford Tigers. This is his 44th appearance for them. A tremendous try-scoring record for Greg Eden. Now then, can Ellis add the extras? 20-12, 8 points, the lead. This for a 10-point advantage. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He kicks it. 22-12 to Castleford. Let's go down to Bill.
Eddie, there's no sign of Tyrone Roberts emerging from the Warrington dressing room, having undergone a head injury assessment, and you've got to deduce that he has failed that head injury assessment. He has not returned. I understand he's still in the dressing room. So that is, in terms of what they're planning for next week, and Wembley is another consideration for Steve Price and the Warrington Wolves, as is the absence of Mitch Brown. Now, he might not have figured on the match day at Wembley. Well, he certainly won't now. He's on his way to hospital for investigation of that knee injury he picked up in the first half. Suspected dislocation, but as I say, off to hospital to have that examined.
An expensive night for the Warrington Wolves. Oh, a risky offload. Shenton did well to retain possession for his club then. Stuart, I hate to put you on the spot about this concussion business, but if Roberts doesn't appear, am I right in thinking he has 7 clear days, so he could be cleared for Wembley?
That is my thinking. So basically, he's got for next Friday.
Yeah.
But I think he'll
and then he's got to have another assessment.
Yeah, they'll do further tests in the week.
It's a worrying night. Oh, and Watts has put Holmes through the gap. Eden's out this way looking for a hat-trick. Ratchford does well again in defence. McShane feigned to go left, went right, and then dropped it. Well, they're piling in, and there's a bit of a dispute going on in back play. Pomeroy and McShane having a bit of a set to.
Good tackle, wasn't it, from Stefan Ratchford? But what about the ball from Liam Watts? Paul McShane then looking to find one of his teammates.
McShane took exception to the fact that Pomeroy put him on the ground without the ball. Don't tell me Ratchford has picked up a knock.
I think it would have been in that challenge. Stopping was it Holmes?
That's the tactic, isn't it? The go-to man's Bryson Goodwin, left centre, just about to play the ball now. We're interested, in the final quarter, just what Warrington are prepared to give here, how hard they're prepared to work, how much pain they're prepared to suffer here.
Bodine Thompson caught one for a high shot by Wardle.
Well, they've won on this ground once this year. Obviously, that was back at Easter time. Takes something special now to do it, but they have it in them. They've got some special players. Can they find a special player to get through Castleford's defence?
George King takes it in on the first tackle of his latest set. It's with Kevin Brown. It was with Kevin Brown. Kevin was passing it before he reached out and claimed the ball.
Well, that's when you can tell it's not going to be Warrington's night. And someone with all the experience that Kevin Brown's got, he makes the mistake under no real pressure. He catches the ball, he's looking to look over his right-hand side in the back line and seeing what players are going to be on, and he just drops it.
Listen, Super League points in the situation that these two clubs find themselves in at the moment are vitally, vitally important. But there is a cup at stake next week. On the positive side for my Warrington friends, is it better to have a bad night at the office tonight than next week?
Of course it is.
And get it all out of your system.
Of course it is, yeah. They're guaranteed nothing at this stage in the Super League.
But
it's all on 80 minutes next weekend.
But you don't want to go into a final after a poor performance either.
No, you don't. Matautia gets a nice ball away to Shenton. Here come Castleford again. And Pomeroy does well to spin Shenton to the ground. Matautia goes inside Pomeroy, gets away from Hughes. Looks a player. Then finds Liam Watts. Liam Watts will plough the ground forward and then take a few more with hands and knees on the floor. McShane to Massey. Castleford fans finding their voice. There's less than a quarter of an hour to go. Leading by 22 points to 12. Liam Watts and Grant Millington back on the field and causing some problems for Warrington. Watts gets to his feet. McShane, Millington. Millington releases the ball to McShane again. Here is Jake Truman. Truman finds Shenton. Shenton goes back the other way. Across the face of the play. Gives it to McMeekin. He timed the run brilliantly. What a fantastic try. McMeekin, he just hit the top gear then at the absolute optimum moment. He waited for the pass. He knew it was coming and he could see the gap. And away he went and strolled in for the try.
There was glimpses of this in the first half. The offloads and players running into spaces would really test and challenge the defensive efforts of both sides. The defences have been on top, even though it hasn't been pretty. Offload to a long pass, and then just look at the chaos that's in the line of Warrington. This is a very brave, very uncompromising line. Bodine Thompson is more interested in the ball. He's unaware of the line. He can't see him. He's unsighted. And Mike McMeekin strolls in and puts the ball under the black dot.
It's not often you see this pass thrown though, and the referee or toucher is not sent forward. When a player runs horizontally across the pitch to another player running at 90 degrees, I often see the referee, they just on suspicion think there's no way this can't be a forward pass. It's gone in his favour, and it's probably won them the game.
McMeekin gets the try, and Ellis will add the extras, and it's looking a lot better for Castleford now than it was in the opening 7 minutes of this half. Is Jamie Ellis a candidate for man of the match? Darryl Powell will be a candidate for Coach of the Year again, as will this fellow Stephen Price. But who's your man of the match tonight? Well, you'll be able to make your vote in about 2 or 3 minutes' time on the Our League app, as you do each and every week. You know the place to find it. And we'll give you 4 names that the legend of the game who is watching with you tonight will have selected, and then you can have your say on who goes home with the silver salver and the money for their chosen charity. And Huddersfield are 20 points to 6 up against Hull FC, so they are going to end up, the way the 2 games are going here tonight, 4 points adrift of Warrington, with a big game to come for Huddersfield and Warrington on September the 7th.
You'd imagine that Steve Price won't be happy with the last 5 minutes though, because 2 Cas players have gone through the line with no hands really placed on them, just from a straight pass. Better defender than that Bodine Thompson. Talked about him in the first half, where he really can intimidate his opponents, but he got that all wrong then.
12 minutes remaining, 28-12 the lead. Castleford looking for more. Watts
They do look a different side every time Liam Watts is on the field.
As I say, Catalan, oh, good kick. Oh, not such a good kick. 20-metre restart for Warrington. So close, Jake Truman.
He's got a lot of potential, Jake Truman, but at moments like this, Luke Gale, who sat in the stands watching this game, he would take charge, take control and execute that kick and slow the game down.
And he's not long before he's back.
No, is he back for the Catalan game? I'm sure I've read somewhere.
Yeah, that's here, the Catalan game, the week after Wembley, and Castleford have got Holloway, Huddersfield and Wakefield at home, and St Helens away before the end of the season, so it's not a done deal yet.
Well,
Darryl Clark has problems.
Your Warrington friends might not be too happy. He just limped off the field there, didn't he? I think he's given this one up. He knows there's no way they can come back, and he's limped on bravely for a long time. He's one of the, I mean, look at the size of him compared to the many players in and around. He's got to be one of the bravest players in this competition.
He might have a couple of problems. Then he limped off the field holding his shoulder.
Yes. Well, he sat down and was holding his shoulder. He limped off. He was certainly in some sort of stress after the tackle earlier with the leg, so maybe a couple of problems for Darryl. I wonder whether Stephen Price will look back on this at the end of the day and say, well, maybe I should have not thrown caution to the wind with next week in mind. It's a brave decision from the coach.
You can't play that way. You've got to keep...
No, I know you can't, but Catalan did last week, didn't they?
Well, Catalan looked like they rested their players.
And they're safe in the eight.
Warrington will put 50 points past...
Yeah, and they've got no worries.
I might not wanted to show the hand as well.
No, it was a phony war last week, no doubt about that. But anyway, time will tell. Here's Liam Watts. And the Catalan squad for the game you'll be able to see live against Wigan tomorrow contains all the players who didn't play against Warrington and lost 56-6 last week. Who'd be a coach, eh? You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
If he gets the result, Steve Price, next week it'll all be forgotten.
Of course it will. Knock on by Ratford.
And they're just looking to kick the ball in behind Warrington. Stephen Ratford played every position in the back line, knows exactly what goes through half-backs, centres, wingers, but he just can't get that ball in. Look, a good kick, isn't it, as well?
Well, this knock-on gives us a scrum, and one of the reasons why I like watching both of these two sides is because they're prepared, willing, and do attack and try and score from a scrum situation. If you think about it, there's more space in the defensive line, and good teams with skill and speed put points on the board right now.
OK, who's your man of the match? Here are the contenders. McShane and Matautia of Castleford, Brown, Kevin Brown and Clark of Warrington. So who is going to get your man of the match vote? The legend has had his say. It's now time for you to have yours. Here's Truman. And Junior Moores. Castleford looking to put this game well and truly to bed. McShane gives it to Millington. Millington having a real old scrap with the two prop forwards up against him, Hill and Cooper. Gets to his feet, plays it to McShane. Here is Truman. This is Oliver Holmes again. Now it's with Shenton. And Truman to Moores, in the back where they started almost. McShane saying the players on his right should go a little bit deeper. Gives it to Millington. And there is Callum Turner on the field. He plays it to McShane again. McShane stabs the kick in. Well, all Toby King could do was just run that ball over the dead ball line.
Well, we've still a while to go, but Paul McShane's my man of the match. He's completely controlled this match. Whilst his team have been under pressure, he's done his defensive work, and when he's been sight of the opposition's line, he's made great decisions. Repeat possession. His side, Castleford Tigers, will get another look at the line now, and who'd back against them for getting another try.
Well, he missed the game against Warrington in June. It ended his 48-game sequence. It was his only absence of the year. Who's got this ball? Warrington have. Philbin trying to work it forward. I think we can say that Huddersfield and Castleford are going to win. Akuola. It was 0-0, wasn't it, that Huddersfield game?
They've got some momentum, Huddersfield Giants, now, haven't they?
Well, if they had a coach of the year for 6 months, Simon Wolford would be walking it.
Without a doubt.
This is Ratchford backing off, now running forwards. Bryson Goodwin finds Cooper. Been a good hard battle in the forwards, hasn't it?
You always knew it was going to be both sides going at each other, looking for that midfield dominance.
Nice little kick from Patton, but well watched by young Turner, Callum Turner.
He did his bit, Dec Patton, when he came on in the second half. 2 tries directly down to him.
Greg Eden with 2 tries under his belt, and 50 now for Castleford. He was the leading try scorer in Super League last year, remember. 43, wasn't it? 43? I'm looking for the, is it 40? 40 odd. Anyway, here is Clare. He's got support from Truman. He just lost his footing.
Oh, Jamie Ellis just drops the ball. It goes back though to Millington.
And here is Millington. Gives it wide to Shenton. Shenton again on that straight run. This time finds Wardle. Bryson Goodwin learned the lesson from the Oliver Holmes try earlier. Last one coming up for Castleford then, this set. Oh, now then, that's ricocheted off a Warrington leg, and Lynham drops on it.
Well, Jamie Ellis, he was looking to kick the ball off the field.
Lynham, I beg your pardon. It's Bodine Thompson, wasn't it?
Yeah. Lynham was at marker. Lynham actually looked back, signalled to Bodine Thompson, you need to cover me.
And there he is now, playing the ball. Akuola. Straight at Mitch Clark. 28-12. We've had 40 points, but it's been a lot of play up the middle, hasn't it? And the only chances that have come have been really hard fought for. Ratchford. He's lost that ball.
Then Eddie, good nines do play, like teams who have good nines, they play through the middle looking for that quick play of the ball. They suck defences in, and then that's what creates space on the outside.
This is Mitch Clark. McShane. Watts was on his shoulder. And he goes down 12 metres shy of the Warrington line. Here's Junior Moores. Got a try in the first half, looking for a second. Very slow to get back to his feet. Liam Watts taking on Ratchford, getting over the line, but doesn't get the ball down. He's held up. Stephen Ratchford does the job again.
Just can't quite get it down. They're a nightmare to defend against. Cass, when they're so close to the line, your defensive lines, you're readjusting, you're numbering up, you're pushing across, and you're looking at everything that the man at the back, the fullback's doing, and what the halfback's doing as well.
There are many weary bodies out there.
Very tired. They've absolutely ripped into each other. Know that there's not been huge points and it's not been the most exciting of games, but they've certainly just tore into each other.
And Castleford needed to make it physical to put those doubts in the minds of the Warrington Wolves players who've accepted that challenge. They've took a couple of casualties, and Tez is absolutely right. There are that many bodies in motion. There is that much trickery involved in any tackle, any set, or any play in a set of 6 that you can't afford to guess.
Right, let's get down to Bill. We've talked a lot about Warrington's injury problems. What's the news on Peter Matautia, Bill?
Yeah, Peter Matautia, a man of the match candidate off the field, just precautionary, according to Castleford, for a hamstring problem.
This is Junior Moores trying to fight his way to the line, beaten by sheer weight of numbers. This is the last one coming up now. McShane off the ground to Ellis. Ellis up in the air and palmed dead by Tom Lynham. They've got a repeat set, Castleford. 4 minutes to go and they're on the front foot again.
Eddie, I'm looking at the Warrington team, and one thing's for sure, the doctor, the physio is going to be really busy this week. Stephen Ratchford, Bryson Goodwin, Tyrone Roberts, Darryl Clark, Jack Hughes have all picked up knocks in this game, and there's one fella who'll be watching this, contest on Sky, and that'll be Steve McNamara rubbing his hands.
The ball has arrived at McShane's arms, full time at Huddersfield, so they've won 26-6. They're going to be 4 points behind Warrington.
11 from 12 in the Super League.
12, yes,
outstanding from Huddersfield.
They come from nowhere. They look dead and buried at one stage. This is Junior Moores. This is Liam Watts, looking to put a little bit of icing on the cake. McShane again waits at dummy half, gives it then to Moores. Warrington's goal line defence being tested right to the end of the game.
Mitch Clark with a decent charge.
Held up. Well, is he held up? Has Gareth Hewer seen something here?
I think they're both his hands, and he's saying I haven't got hold of the ball.
Just check for a knock on it, or the ball's stolen.
Looking for a knock on. Now then, this is going to be tough to find.
Is it stolen, or does he drop it?
Well, that's a question that Ben Thaler will try and work out.
Best of luck.
Certainly sounds like everybody around there feels that it's no try.
Well, there's nothing on that one to say it is a try.
No, and it looked like the ball ended up out of possession, so well, you can see that it looks like,
well, as Chris Hill nicked it.
Looks like the ball's been stolen.
Penalty to Castleford then, maybe.
Penalty to Castleford, 10 metres out.
But wouldn't the attacking player just release the ball? Is that a problem we've got, a flaw we've got with it within the game and the rules? I understand it, because he knows he's not going to score. If he releases the ball, he's got a chance of getting a penalty.
Well, possibly, but all the referee can rule on is what actually happens, and
what he sees.
He's in possession and Chris Hill ends up in possession, so he can only assume that the ball's been stolen.
He's got to clamp the ball then to the body of the man, do you think, attacking? That would be the best way to avoid being penalised.
Possibly.
It's no try. And what will Gareth Hewer signal at the end of this? That we knew. Now then, the conundrum will be answered.
20-metre restart.
A 20-metre restart, he says, so he released the ball.
Lost the ball over the line.
Lost ball.
Which is probably fair enough. Mind you, last minute of a grand final, 2 points in it, there'll be arguments all over the shop. Here's Chris Hill. Can Warrington end with something to smile about from a night of adversity? Give them something to take to Wembley next week. Brown up and over the top. It was touched by James Clare. This will be head and feed then to Warrington.
Well, struggling to get through them, so looking to play.
It's a penalty. Is he offside?
Late hit, I think it was.
A late hit off the ball.
Yeah, struggling to get through, then looking to play outside of them. Castleford just conceded those 2 tries.
Yes, they had a 7-minute wobble, didn't they? Start of the second half.
Yeah. You see Grant Millington on deck pattern. That was the shot. That's what's been penalised by the referee, Gareth Hewer.
So 2 minutes to go. Warrington with the penalty, looking to gain some consolation and a little bit of art and spirit to head down to the smoke this week. It's with Kevin Brown. Dabs the ball in, looking for Stefan Ratchford. They're going to get that try. They're going to get that little bit of spirit. They're going to get that little smile. Are they or aren't they?
Maybe, Eddie.
It's got to be checking for onside and offside. Matters nothing in the overall win or loss column, but it matters to Warrington, obviously, in terms of their attitude going south this week.
Yeah, it's a touch on the far side. I suppose he's got a few players in his way. Wants to check that Ratchford's onside. Certainly looks like he's behind the ball, and that proves that he's behind the ball. Just check the grounding while he's we've got the video. That's been put down, and this will be confirmed.
So the try is given to Warrington. Second try it is for that man Stefan Ratchford, and despite the fact that he's had his problems tonight, he looks a-okay, and he's in now to 11 tries for the season.
Well played to the final whistle to get the field position from the penalty. Can this 2 points go over from Patton?
Yes, it can. Well, Dec Patton has done nothing wrong in the second half here, and he's come on for Tyrone Roberts, who was concussed. And Ratchford's 2 tries, and there's respectability now for Warrington on the scoreboard anyway.
Well, a delicate kick from Kevin Brown, and you're right, Eddie, he's done his chances. No harm, Dec Patton. Whether he gets a starting spot or he gets in the 17, as he's been lodged pretty much most of 2018. But he's come on, he's added something to this team, he's given the spark. I don't think it'd be much of a consolation to Warrington players or fans. It might well be that they get the last try.
They have got a different team with him on the field, haven't they? He's given some spark, he's given some momentum.
Well, in Tyrone Roberts' defence, if he's gone out on the fall. That's gone out on the fall, that kick from McShane. If Tyrone Roberts was concussed in the first half, there's possible explanation of why he wasn't firing on all cylinders, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. But still looking at Dec Patton's performance, and every time he's touched the ball, what he's done in defence as well, I think he's certainly stepped up, and whether he starts the game next week or whether he's on the bench, he'll definitely be in the 17.
And let's not forget, he was the starting scrum half at the grand final for Warrington in 2015. 16, should I say. I got there in the end.
He was, and he scored a try, if I remember rightly, as well that night. Penalty to Warrington here. It's just ending very scrappily for Castleford.
Well, they just want to play this quick, just 10 seconds to go now.
Patton dabs the ball up and over the top. Oh, and James Clare has lost it, and Bryson Goodwin flicks the ball back inside. Jamie Ellis hacks it out. It's all over. Warrington will be relieved it is, and Castleford get the jump on them. They go above them in the Super League table in these Super 8s. 28-12 they have won. A little scratch of the head from Darryl Powell. He knows it's probably not the most convincing display of the season, but they were good in parts, a bit like the curate's egg tonight, Castleford. And same to say with Warrington. Nice spell at the start of the second half, but they just couldn't keep it going.
Well, you'd say that Darryl Powell wanted, and they would have talked about all week, a good start. They had a good start. They got to half-time. Was it 16-0 in Cassie's favour? They didn't get that last week, and they knew that there was going to be some sort of a response from Warrington in the second half. They had a bit of a rough patch. They seemed to get through that wave, and then all of a sudden they kicked on at the end as well.
Well, Ratchford and Goodwin with tries, and Ratchford late on with a consolation. Aiden and McMeekin in the second half after Warrington was 16-0 up at half-time. 28-18 to Darryl Powell's Castleford Tigers. And not only do they go home with the 2 points, they also take home the Betfred Man of the Match. There he is. Great game, great season for Paul McShane, Bill.
Indeed, another Man of the Match award, 2 weeks running for the Cass Tigers on Sky Sports, Paul. This one a slightly happier occasion, getting the win.
Yeah, I must have a lot of family watching games, because I think our big men were outstanding today, coming up against a really big pack, and I thought all this pack stood up, building from last week, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's as long as I'm helping team, then I'm doing my job.
Well, back to winning ways, and still in the hunt for that second place.
Yeah, we do. That's his aim, to get second place in a home semi-final, because how much it means to us to play here in front of our fans. But yeah, there's a lot of hard work still to do, and we're just going to keep on building, hopefully.
The difference maybe tonight was it was a full-on 80 minutes, and you weren't slow out of the blocks.
Yeah, probably got a slow start to the second half, but if you give one a sniff, they're going to take it, and I think we showed a bit of character to get it back in the arm wrestling and get it back towards end.
Well done, Man of the Match performance. You got that silver salver, and there's your cheque, and that's going to which charity?
Team Heaven again. They set off to Wembley tomorrow, so they've got a long week's walking.
Just explain.
It's for my cousin that died last year playing for Stanley. He died with an head knock, and his dad and a few friends are walking to Wembley to raise money for his charity and to his selected charities, so it's all off to a good cause.
Well done, Paul.
Cheers, thank you.
Steve Price is the Warrington Wolves coach, and at half-time he said one of the words he used, Steve, was woeful after the first 40 minutes, but you got the response you wanted at least in the second half. The attitude was better.
Yeah, I thought there was, the periods there, that second half, which was our DNA, but yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing display on our behalf. Losing Mitch Brown early, and Tyrone Roberts had to move a few players around, and clearly showed headspace was in other areas tonight.
Tyrone Roberts is a worry, because he didn't come back out. Obviously, I mean, it's early days, but you need to get him ready for next week now.
Yeah, that's right. It was only a little knock. There was no seriousness in the injury, but yeah, I thought there was a couple of good displays in Joe Philbin. I thought was sensational tonight, and George King gave us something coming off the bench. So and starting when he had to go to 9. So yeah, it was just one of those games where we weren't quite at the races. A few players had different mentality which we've been quite good at throughout the year. So we'll dust ourselves off. Challenge Cup final next week.
Good luck in that. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, plenty to smile about for the Warrington Wolves when they focus on Wembley. But right now it belongs to Darryl Powell, and they have leapfrogged the Wolves. Very important win for the Castleford Tigers. Just confirmation of a scoreline, 16-0 at half-time to Darryl's side. A couple of quick tries from Warrington to start the second half made it nervy for the home side. But ultimately the Tigers too good in the end. John, what for you was the game breaker in, I suppose, particularly that second half of that match?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Well, you referenced the 2 early tries that Warrington scored in that second 40 minutes. That closed it to a 4-point ball game. So I'm going to pick up on the hour mark with the passage of play that led up to Greg Eden's second try and really took a 4-point out to a 10-point lead. It's a bit of good work in the middle. Paul McShane referenced the work of the forwards. I think Nathan Massey was excellent. Millington was excellent. Look at the hands here from Millington to put Liam Watts, who was outstanding. Must have made 30 carries, Liam Watts, in this game. And then off the back of that, there's one man who I think, if he's not already, and we've heard murmurs about it today and maybe the last week, that Paul McShane is in the running for a man of steel shortlisting. Well, I think this has done his case no harm at all. He's in there. It's his adjustment once Jamie Ellis passes to him, but just how quickly he assesses that defensive line, sees what's on, and then executes the kick for Eden. Good finish in the corner from him. But there's a switch angle, and just have a look at the execution of that with half a second's notice. I think that ultimately made the difference between the two teams. The Castleford Tigers then up to 3rd in the table, and they get to put the feet up next week and watch the team they've displaced into 4th compete in that Challenge Cup final. That's the game breaker for me.
Yeah, thanks very much, John. Beautiful touch off the boot by Paul McShane. OK, confirmation of what that means on the Betfred Super League table. Castleford moved to within a point of the Wigan Warriors, who are in action tomorrow. Warrington now have Huddersfield Giants breathing down their necks. Just 4 points separate both of those. OK, Darryl Powell said before the game they wanted to make it difficult for Warrington, wanted to put one eye on next week for the away side. They certainly did that, Bill.
Yeah, Darryl, before the game, you mentioned the need for an 80-minute performance this week. You got that?
Oh, well, I thought we were pretty good, apart from the start of the second half. We came out a little bit loose, and they got some quick rooks on us, and we made some. I mean, that's a fantastic kick that they scored the first one from, and that was a soft one, the poor read from Jake Webster in defence that gave him the second try. And the one at the end, poor positioning from the full-back there. But I thought we were good in large parts today. We were really controlled for the first half and dominated the game, I thought. And yeah, it's a big win for us. That it takes a little bit of edge off, I think. As you got Huddersfield coming up on the rails, aren't they? And they'll probably put somebody under pressure, and hopefully it's not going to be us. I reckon Warrington might get a bit squeaky bum after Wembley, but yeah, I wish them all the best for next week. It should be a good game.
Paul McShane got man of the match, but he, fair play, paid tribute to your pack, who he said laid the platform for this win.
Yeah, Warrington defend really well on the edges, and they put you under pressure, so you've got to find different ways of getting over the line. Sometimes it's a little bit reactive, and we started to do that in the second half, and some smart bits of play that got us points. The pack were outstanding today, I thought. Yeah, it's really stood up, and you have to do against Warrington, the big physical unit.
Thanks, Darryl.
Thank you.
All right, Darryl Powell is absolutely right to point out that the Warrington Wolves will be nervy now, because this is a scoreline from the John Smith Stadium. Hull FC, 6 consecutive Super League losses now, but the story will be about the Huddersfield Giants, Phil Clark, as they win their 6th consecutive game, their 11th in their last 12 in Super League.
Very tight first half. I mean, the 2 back rowers for the Hull side, first the Minicello and then Sika Manu, do get over the line, but you can see the Huddersfield defence has them covered on both occasions, really. There's no way that they could have scored here. Very little chances for either side to score. Defence is clearly on top. They lost the ball. Just before half-time, Huddersfield did make a break. It was about the only one, really, of the first half. Kick goes up, and Jordan Rankin, the Huddersfield fullback, sets off down the wing. But again, you see the emphasis, the interest and the enthusiasm of the team to defend here, and enough Hull players back there. That was about the half-time hooter just sounded at that point. But then we get early in the second half, Huddersfield given some chances close to opponent's line, and Danny Brough finds a nice pass for Alex Miller to go over. 6-0 at that point in time. And then really shortly after that, we see Adam O'Brien scoot down the middle of the field, and a wonderful pass to Gaskill, who's up there in support. We went quickly then to 12-0 at that point.
Right, both those converted, as you say. Then Danny Brough knocked over a penalty, 14-0 to the home side. Beretta Frimo scored a try that he converted, Phil, to give Lee Radford's side a small sniff in this match.
Well, yeah, you think when they got back to this, there had been a penalty, hadn't there, before that was 14-0. This got us to 14-6, and then we then see Huddersfield again playing without any pressure and with a real confidence, almost the confidence of a team you'd expect to be in the top couple of places, pinging the ball out to the wing with Jermaine McGilvray working his way back in field, handing off Houghton, keeping the ball alive, and Ryan Hinchcliffe goes over to score, which when added the conversion, another 6 points at that point, 20 points to 6. And Cruz Leamy then on as a hooker. Nice pass to Gaskill, and Akuma Tai, well, he's too strong from that range. That was the final score, 26 points to 6. And they are the team that nobody wants to face for the remainder here now of this Super 8.
Well, you can see what it means to the Huddersfield Giants players. They do have a massive chance. I mean, we thought the top four was more or less secured, but as Darryl Powell said in his post-match interview with Bill Arthur, the Warrington Wolves will now be looking over his shoulder. We said the punishment may be greater than the prize here tonight. They have the Huddersfield Giants yet to play them, and have got them now just 4 points behind them on the table.
They have, but when you look, I suppose, at that points difference on that league table, there's about 300 plus points difference, so they will need more than just the 4 points, because that won't be enough. But as you said, they've got a week's rest here now. Warrington go to Wembley with the emotional high and low, whatever will be involved there. It is a real test, and Huddersfield should get excited.
Phil, a word on Hull FC. 6 consecutive losses now for Lee Radford's side. I mean, this is it's a collapse of monumental proportions. I mean, when you look back further than that, I think their record, they have 2 wins in their last 11 in all competitions, which is horrendous.
It is, and when you look at their results against teams in the top 8, again, that's even worse. They haven't won any of the last 7 games now against teams in the top 8. Again, though, last week in the first half, they were in the contest, things fell away from them. Again, the same things happened here, in the game for the first half, but without Jake O'Connor, Albert Keller, I think they lack that special piece of magic which can turn a game when you really need some points, you need a player to come up with something special. No longer do they have that in the armoury.
No, they don't. They've obviously got some questions to ask over at the KCOM Stadium. I want to have a quick word with you about tomorrow. We're going to bring you 3 games from the Super 8 and the qualifiers, as well as 2 NRL games, 5 Rugby League games on Sky Sports. It's the qualifier games I want a quick word on. Salford against Widnes, and we've got Toronto against Hull Kingston Rovers. 2 massive matches. I'm thinking about Widnes and Hull Kingston Rovers in particular.
Well, there's an element of sudden death almost for the Widnes side. Obviously they've got chances, but the pressure would really mount to them if they're not able to win. They went close when they played at Salford earlier this season, lost in the end. I think they'll be good, but the Toronto one's a fascinating one. Hull KR, I think, are a Super League side for next season, and Toronto have an opportunity to show us whether they're good enough at home to win there. Gareth O'Brien's a Super League player playing fullback. Can he get them the win?
Well, we will find out on Sky Sports. Just a reminder of what we have got coming for you. 2 NRL matches. West Tigers St George Illawarra start the day 8:25 Sky Sports Arena, same channel, 10:30 Cronulla North Queensland, and then the qualifiers Salford Widnes from the AJ Bell Stadium, 3 p.m. Sky Sports Arena. Catalan Dragons